Okay, so here's the big change. The biggest change of all is the way that combat works. Everything that you have now has an attack speed attached to it. Any item that you can swing has an attack speed attached to it. So it's all labeled here too, exactly what each one offers. So for example, the Iron Axe, 0.9 attack speed and 9 attack damage. The Iron Sword, 1.6 attack speed and 6 attack damage. But that's only if I have it in my main hand. And you're probably wondering, well, what's your main hand? What's your offhand? Well, let's go ahead and take a look right here. I've got my sword in my main hand, which is my right hand, and I can set that in the options. So if you want to have it left hand main hand, you can do that. I'm not a lefty, so I'm not going to do that. But my offhand is my axe, and what that is that actually works. If my main hand works with this click right here, then my offhand should work with the right click. Now, of course, the axes, swords, all of this stuff, there's no longer a right click option with them. So if I want to say, okay, let's say I'm going to take this out of my right hand. Let's say I want to block with my sword. Can't do that. Cannot block with your sword anymore. Sword blocking, donezo, gone. Bye-bye, finito. But there are things that I can use my right hand for, right? Like the flint and steel. So what if I take this, flip that to my right hand, and now I've got a flint and steel in one hand and a sword in the other hand. What can I do? Mr. Cow? No. Haha, yes. So that is now a possibility to be dual wielding a flint and steel and a sword at the same time. I like to call this the Pyromancer's surprise. So there you go. And Cow is dead. Well, that is worth mentioning, and I mean, there's lots of other options here. So, for example, what if I wanted to do lava bucket? I could do a lava bucket, right? That's a right-click item. Yep, I could do a lava bucket. So I could. You can if you want to. If you want to risk this, you can run up to somebody with a lava bucket in hand, drop it, pick it up, hit them. Drop it, pick it up. So, drop, pick, hit. Drop, pick, hit. Oh, and it's worth mentioning, too, that along with the attack speed stuff, there's actually a little indicator, which you'll have to enable in-game. It's an interface option here. So, if I go to video settings, attack indicator, you can set it to hotbar, off, or on the crosshair. I set it to the hotbar because it's right next to my hand there. But every item now has a cooldown period for when you can attack, and that actually changes how much damage you do. Specifically, what that means is the more you attack, the less damage you do. So if I spam here, actually I should be careful here, but if I hit this guy like that, I do 4 just by standing still. But if I do this and I just spam him real quick, notice that it took me like 10 hits to do that, and we'll do it again real quick here just to prove it. So again, I'm going to spam this guy, and I'm not going to spam this guy. So ready? 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 hits to kill him versus waiting for the bar to recharge. So 1, 2, 3, dead. Look at that. That's how much quicker that is. And that goes for mobs, it goes for players. Basically, spam sword clicking is dead as an effective strategy to kill people. You're going to have to watch your meters. You're going to have to charge them up. Let it charge up, actually, I should say. And 2, 3, 4. So you might notice that, too. I want to mention this. There is a new defensive sword sweep attack that you get if you're charging. You don't get it. So I'll show you this for example. I'm trying to charge this cow, and notice I didn't get that. But if I stand still or if I crouch, it does a little sword sweep damage, which knocks back them a little bit. It's kind of like a knockback 1 achievement for free. It does about 75 to 80% of the knockback 1 achievement. And it works on mobs and players, which is nice. Creates that little particle and sound effect. And you do see them receive I don't know if that's an additional bit of damage, but it does definitely cause them to receive some damage from the sword sweep attack that maybe they don't get otherwise. The other thing worth mentioning is that you can also use axes to take out zombies, because they do, as mentioned here, they do 0.9 attack speed but 9 attack damage, which is more on the sword. The only difference is they go down to 3. With a sword, it takes 4. 4 full charges takes that down. So you're probably wondering, what's the time difference, and is one better than the other? The answer is no, not really. The axe is slightly faster because it takes fewer hits, but you're also having to wait a longer period because the attack speed is slower. So really, if you're just using it, if you're not spamming it to take out a mob, and you shouldn't be anymore, it's a negligible difference. I tested this a couple times, and I found on average the axe did about 2.5 seconds from swing to death, so like that, and the sword was about 2.8 seconds to take out a mob. So again, it's a 0.3% difference. So if you're taking out a single mob, I did see a recommendation to use axes instead. I'm going to go ahead and say, at least for now, it's fine to go ahead and just use either one. Just keep in mind that the axe will drop them in fewer swings, but the sword will drop them with more damage because you can swing it faster. However, the one thing to keep in mind is haste. If you get a haste achievement on anything, if you're like running, or a haste buff on anything, that does increase your attack speed, while mining fatigue will slow your attack speed. So that means that if you're going to fight a guardian, an elder guardian for example, when he drops that mining fatigue on you, that's actually going to affect how quick you can fight these guys too, if that wasn't already affecting it. The other question is, because each of these now has a damage amount here, and I'm going to go to game mode 1 real quick. Each of these now has a damage amount, and it's actually all the same for all the swords. The question is, should you go ahead and go with diamond swords or iron swords with higher enchants? Well, at least as far as I can figure out, the answer is up to you. Keep in mind a diamond sword with sharpness 1 on it is going to do, let me see if I can even do that here. I might actually be able to, nope, because these are all going to be tapped out. But a diamond sword with sharp 1 is going to be the same as an iron with sharp 3. So the age-old question of, is it better to make a diamond sword and enchant that, or to make a bunch of smaller iron swords, combine them all together and get sharpness 3 out of it? That, again, is still going to be up to you. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself and what you really want to do, because armor is still important, but it's actually maybe a little less important, and I should hit on that real quick here. So, one of the things that I should mention is armor itself is still the same as it was before as far as how much protection it offers. The only difference is now it's going to count less for how much damage it deflects. The way the change has been made is that each 2 hearts of damage done by an attack reduces the effectiveness of armor defense points by 0.5 armor, but never below 20% of the armor's points. So the stronger armor that you have, it's going to be obviously better. So for example, full diamond will never drop below 20%. So it will never drop below the, let's see, it's 10. So it'll never drop below 2. But it'll also take a lot longer for it to drop down, say, iron armor or enchanted iron armor or something like that. So it's a little less powerful, but it is at the same time still worth noting. And one of the other things I wanted to go ahead and grab, I already have one on my hotbar. So this bad boy right here is a shield. And this is actually going to be very important here in a moment. Did I throw my sword out? I must have thrown my sword out. Yep. I'll grab a diamond sword. We'll go back to game mode 0. But this bad boy right here is the shield. And it's very important because it's going to be more or less life or death for you from now on. So the way you craft it is you make, if I go into the crafting grid, it's a Y shape right here. So like you're making a hopper out of iron, but with wood. And there's an iron ingot that goes up here. And that creates this guy right here. So I've got this held in my regular hand right now. I'm going to switch it over using F to my offhand, and then we'll put the diamond sword here in my right hand. And if you notice there real quick, there's actually a draw item. So that's also worth mentioning. There's a draw animation now for when you switch. It's not instant. So if you're going to go from bow fighting someone to sword meleeing them, keep in mind that you're not going to have your sword available necessarily right at the start. Actually, you do have it available, but it is going to do reduced damage. Here we go. This guy right here. So skeletons have been changed a lot. They now have an actual draw animation. And you can see, look at that. He's moving. He's actually moving and strafing. They're no longer stupid. But what this is the shield actually blocks all of the arrows. So this is what you're going to have to do now when you fight a skeleton. You can no longer bum rush them, but there is actually a defense against them where you can get inside. And they fire at regular intervals, so I can actually do this. Run up, get him, block, and there we go. That's how you pretty much have to take care of the skeletons now. And the shield, that's why the shield is going to be your best friend, because if you run into one of these guys in the caves or, out in the wild somewhere, that's how you're going to have to take care of them. And again, this guy right here blocks his damage. How about that? Now, when I'm holding this down with right, I can't actually attack, so I have to deal with, I'm still trying to sword spam. I can't do that anymore. So, yep, took a little bit of damage there. So it's going to be, he knocks me back too, which is really cool. So you're going to have to be a little more careful with how to deal with packs of mobs. And they still do exist. Oh, you can see too there that the sword swipe, it does have an area of effect in front of you. And by the way, the shield as well will block all damage in a hemisphere in front of you. So keep that in mind. And let's see if I can find one here. I want to show, right here. I'm going to show this off. This is really cool. Remember how I used to sword block and take damage from creepers? Remember how that used to be a problem? Well, I wonder here. Come here. Yes, it blocks the spiders as well. That's really cool. That is a nice change, because now nothing can get to you. And you don't take damage from it, but you also can't attack. Alright, so I'm going to come over here. This creeper right here. Come here, buddy. I want you to light me up. Light me up, bad boy. Alright, so actually it does do a little bit of damage, but for the most part, if you're not standing directly on top of him, as I was there, then the shield will block the creeper damage for you, which is insane because, even in the old days when you used the sword block, you'd still take a half a heart from a creeper that blew up. I mean, that's a huge change. That's a huge safety change. I think that's incredibly important to have to deal with now. Oh, took a little bit of delayed damage there when I let down. He attacked, but that's the shield is just such a game changer. However, it's not a be all end all, because with the axe there is a new ability. With the axe, a new secondary ability. If you attack somebody who's got a shield, thank you. If you attack somebody who's got a shield on, there is get lost. Okay, so we're fine and we're dead. We might as well set this today now. Can we set this today? Yeah, we'll set it today. Let all the bad things burn. But if you attack somebody who's got one of these axes in hand and they come at you with your shield, there is a small change here. Looking through my notes real quick. I know I wrote this down, dang it. Where is it? Must be under the shields. Yes. If you attacked somebody who's got a shield with an axe, if I, go ahead and attack a dude here with an axe, you have a chance to disable the player's shield for 5 seconds if you hit them, and it's all based on chance. There's a 25% base chance plus 5% percentage points for each level of efficiency on the axe. So at that, you get up to 150 points because you can get up to efficiency 5, right? So you got 50 points if you have an efficiency 5 axe, no matter what material is. However, there's a 75 percentage point bonus if you're sprinting. So if you're sprinting at somebody, regardless of if you have any sort of efficiency on your axe, you will disable that shield because it's 100%. It's guaranteed to disable it. So that's going to bring an interesting little concept into melee combat. Do I go ahead and attack the person with the shield first, disable the shield, and then go in, switch to my diamond sword, and just start wailing away at them? That's a good question, and that's something that perhaps with more time and experience we'll start to figure out. But it's a possibility, and it's a very strong possibility that could become, I guess you could call it, the meta of melee combat, especially if shields begin to become a thing that is much more commonplace. So, as you saw, there's some mob AI changes as well. The skeletons will now try and strafe you, and they won't necessarily run up to you like you used to be able to do. So you can't just run into them and melee them and kill them that way because they can't shoot you from within their own entity area. That's one change. Creepers have a change to the formula. TNT as well has a change to the formula for explosions. I don't know how that affects it, and I haven't really had time to expand upon it too much. Let's see here. Yes. There's a new item in the game that is a trap horse. And what the trap horse does is it's actually a trap that the game has built, and it appears, I think, during lightning storms. I've never seen one of these, but what happens is it's a horse, and it looks like a regular horse, and you walk up to it, and as soon as you do, lightning strikes the horse, and a bunch of skeleton riders, which are skeletons with iron helmets on their heads, on skeletal horses, walk up and just start beating the living hell out of you. You run into one of those and you are going to die. So that's just really another scary thing that they've added to the game, just to kind of make it even tougher for us trying to survive in the PvE world. The other thing, I know a lot of people like the fishing rods. They like to use the fishing rods in melee. So they have repaired the fishing rods or made it work a little better. So now it actually hooks into people much more easier, I guess, when you're trying to use it. And you still get the pullback. So it's a little bit easier to do the fishing rod jank, I guess you could call it, where you use a fishing rod to kind of mess with people. And you can use it to kind of yank them. Here. Hey, come here, cow. You can use it to yank them off things and whatnot. But keep in mind, I'm sure somebody's got the idea, you can cast it with right click, right? Yeah. What if I put it in my offhand and I have my sword, so then I can just hook the guy and just immediately, you just probably saw it right there. It doesn't work if you have it in your offhand for some reason. I don't know if that's a bug that's going to get fixed, or if that's just the way the game is now because it's saying, oh, you have something in your offhand. Even if I have an open hand, it doesn't really work. It's trying to throw it because it throws it from the right side, and you're throwing it from the left side here. So for some reason it doesn't work. I don't know if that's a bug or an intended feature, but long story short, fishing rod doesn't work in your offhand, even though it is a right-click item. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. Endermen got changed as well. They stay angry at you even if they touch the water now. So running and hiding in the water, not going to save your butt anymore from Endermen. You're actually going to have to fight them, at least if that's what the notes that I read on 1.9 are correct about. Yep, that's fun, isn't it? All right. I know you're bugging me. Nihon, get to the arrows, man. All right, here's all the arrows. These are all the new arrows that are in the game. Every single one of them. You can see basically you've got all of these different. Some of these aren't even going to be very useful or craftable because they're just like potions that you make. And the way that works, the way you make one of these is that you need a lingering potion and 8 vanilla arrows, and you put them in a crafting grid. The lingering potion goes in the middle here, and then the arrows go around it. It makes 8 of whatever the lingering potion type here is in the middle of the tipped arrows. So just to run through them real quick, you've got luck, poison, regen. You can see they also have strength, weakness. So all of these things, all of these potions that are available as lingering potions, which is all of them, are also available as new tipped arrows or new enchanted arrows or whatever you want to call them. We've also got these spectral arrows, which we'll talk about briefly in a moment. But just to talk about some of the theory crafting behind these, most of these are not going to be useful. There's an idea that perhaps I have in the back of my head for a special type of... Oh, let's go back to game mode 0. A special type of game mode where you have to... Everyone gets a bow, and you get these arrows, and you have to shoot your teammates to actually give them buffs or something like that. I don't know, But, I mean, you've got... In theory, again, like I mentioned before, the lingering potions, you're probably not going to get to make them in the game. So, for UHC, so these are not going to be very, very useful. But they've also got here, weakness, strength pots are not going to be very useful for yourself. Regen pots, again, unless you're shooting your teammates. So poison, damage. Here, I'll take some of these out too, simply because I want to show them off. Instant health, water breathing, slowness. Take out the slowness one. And I also want to kind of show something else off with... Oh, you know what? I'll take the invisibility one out too. It's going to be... No, no raining. Toggle downfall. By the way, I think that's new rain sound. Or maybe I just don't have my rain sounds on anymore. Okay, so... A couple of things to mention with the arrows. I believe... Let's see here. So you got a new animation there. But I believe... Oh. Okay, so it kind of defaults... It picks one, I think whatever one is in your first... Invisible cow. It picks whatever one is in your hotbar first. So this should be the slowness one. If I did this right. If it picks it right. Yep, okay. So the slowness one gets picked. So... Whatever's in your hotbar is the one that will get selected, and it's in order. So I think the next one it would select is regular vanilla arrows until it runs out of those. You can change that though. You can change that by selecting an arrow for your offhand and then drawing your bow, and it will draw the arrow in question. Hit the pig. Okay, so he's got harming that was applied to him there. So that's just a more powerful arrow. And these spectral arrows, these are crafted with a regular arrow and 4 glowstone. These ones might actually be used in the game, and they have a very good use. They're basically, not only do they do damage, but they also mark things. You can mark mobs, you can mark players with them, and it gives you that border around them for however... I forget how long it is. I think it lasts for like 20 seconds or something like that, 15, 20 seconds. It's not a long lingering effect, but again, it's 4 glowstone dust, Let's see here. So let's imagine this is a crafting table. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 arrow in the middle. That's how you make one of those. And again, you can use it on mobs, you can use it on players to light them up. That's going to get a lot of use. So if you you tag somebody with one of those and they're trying to run away from you, it's going to be crazy useful. And I think they also do damage. Yep, they do damage too. So they are. Oh, you can see one right there. They work both ways, so they're not. It's not like you're sacrificing anything to get them to work. You're still getting the time, set, day. You're still getting the benefits of regular arrows, but with the added plus of having that illumination. So I can see those getting a lot of use in the UHC. I think that's going to be very, very useful. Now, I've also got this bow here with infinity just to show off that they are not affected by infinity. So you can't just make one and then hope that, oh, I can shoot everything with my special glowy arrows. It doesn't work like that. That's not how it's going to work. Infinity does not affect any of the special arrows at all. Alright, so we are in spectator mode because there's one structure I want to show off. It's possibly a game-changing structure if you come across the right one, and I wanted to give you guys a very quick look at it. This one's floating, but they don't always normally float like this. This is an igloo. These spawn randomly in ice plains and cold taiga biomes, and if I come in here, there are these ice structures. You come inside, and there is carpet on the floor. There's usually a crafting table with a redstone torch, a furnace, and a bed. But this is one type that's right here. So let's see, there's nothing. It's not under here. Oh yeah, I know what the other one is. There's two variants of this. This is the kind of the default variant. This is the basic one that you might normally see. And it's got really nothing inside of it. But there's one type that's got a little bonus secret here. I'm gonna go TP 200, 100, 100. Go back to spawn. If we come over here, and I swear I did not make this one up. This is 100% legitimately spawned into the game this way. Cannot believe this actually spawned into the game this way. It's over here. Okay. I'm just trying to remember which hill it spawned into. The game is apparently a little wonky with how it spawns them right now. It must spawn them in first and then spawn other things over it. Because there's there's an igloo spawned right here in the middle of a hill. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work, but that's how it worked this time. So if you take a look at this, you know, it looks pretty normal. Actually, can I go to game mode 0? Okay, so we'll go back to game mode 0. You know, looks pretty normal, other than being buried in the ground. But oh, what's this? There is a thing down here, and if I go down, there is a secret down here. And this secret could be what the game changer is. So, look what we've got down here. We have got, let's see. Oh, I don't have my stupid thing. But we've got ourselves a villager, a village priest, and a zombie villager priest. I wish I brought my pickaxe. I don't know why I left my pickaxe behind. But I can just break on through to the other side. So this guy's got trades, obviously. And this guy's got trades too, but you have to cure them. Now, you're supposed to get a whole bunch of stuff in here. Look at this. We got a golden apple. We got apples. Look at this. Just think about this. Think about what this would bring to you if you found this in the chest in the UHC. You have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 apples, a golden apple. You got a brewing stand here with a splash potion of weakness in it. I mean, this is a game-changing kind of thing. This is the kind of thing that, you know, you find one of these bad boys, you are set to do some damage. Now, you're supposed to use the splash potion of weakness for, obviously, for this guy, and then give him the golden apples so that he turns into a regular villager, not a zombie villager. But really, are you going to bother with that in the UHC? No, you're not going to bother with that. You're not going to bother doing any of that crap. You're going to take that golden apple, you're going to take that splash potion of weakness and all the apples that are in there and say, see ya, sucker, I'm out. So, if you happen to come across one of these in 1.9, that could be a game-changing kind of thing. That is a very much a definite game changer if you get lucky enough to find that one. And that is not like a certainty. So if I generate 100 of them, it might spawn those and 10 of them. I don't know what the percentage is as far as how rare or uncommon they are. But they can give you a bit of an advantage if you come across the right one. So, that all being said, I think we've kind of run through everything. Let me just check my notes real quick here. We talked about that. And there's some small changes with potions. They've nerfed some of the potion timers. For Potion of Poisons, now down from 2 minutes to 1:30. Potion of Regen also down from 2 minutes to 1:30. And a slight tweak on Potion of Poison 2 is now down by 1 second. Potion of Strength, I don't even know why I'm talking about Potion of Strength. Those are all banned in UHCs anyways. Potion of Weakness changed its reduction to gives it it's a less a buff over time than it is just a straight buff of 4 hearts now, and they removed most of the recipes for potions of weakness. So, what did we learn today? Well, we learned that these spectral arrows are probably going to be used. The shields are definitely going to be used. That the attack speed, the attack gain changes are useful, but also at the same time not as mind-blowingly destructive as people thought. Having stuff in the offhand is actually really cool. You can do some really interesting things, and there's some interesting possibilities there. Mobs are going to be a lot tougher now. There's going to be less opportunities for notch apples, but there is going to be increased loot in some spots. And we've got a really cool thing that we can actually say. Boats are actually working properly. Holy crap. Did you ever think you would see that? I don't even care if this is a UHC video specifically. Did you ever think you would see today where boats in Minecraft would work properly and they would actually not be a significant pain in the ass anymore, because they are no longer a significant pain in the ass? Oh, I'm so happy. But really, that's all I can think about for a lot of the 1.9 UHC changes. It's been a long video. I'm going to go take a break, get a nap, get some snacks. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Thank you for sitting through this whole thing. I know it's probably been like 45 minutes. But as always, good luck, good mining, have fun on UHC, and I'll see you guys next time. Woo!